welcome. It's Jane here from the design team of Indigo Blue, and we are going to be making a card today. But I thought what happens quite often is that we buy stamps and we think, oh, Winter Lodge, it's for winter time. I can only use it for winter. So you do your Christmas cards, you put it away, and then you never use it again until the next Christmas. So I thought I'd show you, excuse me, a way of doing it for all year round, because this is a sweet little house. The trees can be green, they don't necessarily need to be wintry. We can have this as sort of, something at the front rather than snow, and we're going to turn it into a different sort of card. So we're going to combine it with, so this is Winter Lodge, we're going to combine it with the anemone and script, because this script and those leaves will work perfectly. So let's have a go and see what happens. I've got a small, this is our card, which is super soft, beautiful for stamping on, and it is this is a 5 by 5, so this is 4 3/4 because it's going to go onto the front like that. So let's start with this bit. I need a block to put it on, and I'm just going to ink it up with some VersaFine Onyx, which is a very fine black ink, and I tend to use that all the time for stamping images. Particularly, our images have so much detail in them. The detail is superb, so it means that you want to use a good fine ink to use it. Particularly if you're going to be doing it as a focal image. So I'm going to put this slap bang in the center. Give it a good press. Now I always leave it just for a couple of seconds to just allow the ink to soak into the paper. And then we'll take it off and we'll see. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Just such a lovely little image. I really love all of the images that we have. They are so pretty. Okay, so now I want to add, let me just clean this one off. Just need to put some, I quite often use a cloth, but sometimes I use a scrubby tool, which keeps my stamps looking beautiful, because I like my stamps to look nice. So that one is from the Winter Lodge, and now we're going to use the script and the leaves from Anemone and Script. This one I use again and again and again and again, because it just adds the most beautiful little pieces of script and things on there, and also it will give you a lovely background as well, which is what we want, because we don't want it to look snowy. So I'm going to do this, I think I'm going to do it all in black, and then we're going to do some colouring and stuff over the top. So I'm just inking this up, and I'm hoping that I've got it the right way around. So I'm going to do this down on the bottom. Beautiful, like that. And then it makes it, I don't have to have it so that it's in on the snow. Sorry, I can't stamp and talk at the same time. So you see how that's sort of hidden where it's snowy. So that's perfect at the bottom like that. I am going to just sort of, blend it in a bit so that it's not going to be, I could have brought it a little bit closer together, I think, but I'm not overly fussed with that. I think it'll work. And then I want to do, on the top with this one, which is the lovely leaves. We're going to have the leaves coming down from the top. Like this, so we can have the leaves just coming down. Like that. I'm just sort of turning it around as I'm going. So you've got this pieces coming in. We'll have just a little one like that. Okay, so you can now sort of see that a Christmas scene has suddenly become something far from a Christmas scene. And that's where we can now start working from it to just get ourselves a lovely image and just give it a little bit more definition. I'm just going to put them away carefully, and I keep them in just plastic wallets. I haven't put these ones in because I was actually given these ones at Christmas time this year. So I had a friend who bought some for me, and I was like, oh, they're fun, but because she was in America, she by the time it had come in the post, it was actually after Christmas, and I thought, oh, right, I haven't got these ones, I shall use them. And right, I'm just going to leave that outside there. I can use them for another time, so I need to put those into a little plastic wallet. So those are the two that we've used, and now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of colour in on there, but I also then want to do some sort of distressing and stuff around there. So we're going to have, what am I going to use? I think I'm going to use, I might use some of our lovely Luscious, which I've got in, or I might use some of, these I really love, so let me just get these out. These are some of our new Vivids, and some of the ones I've got are, okay, so I'm going to use Primary Blue and Primary Red. Let me find it. No, is that Primary Red? Primary Red. What have I got on here? Satin Sashes, Raindrops and Roses, Catch a Moonbeam. I should have one more in here. Here we go. That's what I want. Primary Yellow. Because if I mix the yellow and the blue together, it's going to give me a lovely green. And I want some green to work with. So I'm going to put it in. We'll put it on a little block like that, and then I can just mix it up. So I just want a little bit of the blue, just a couple of drops. You don't need very much at all. It's so pigmented and concentrated that as I say, you don't need very much at all. So I'm just going to put some yellow on here. I want it more yellow than blue for the green, because I don't want a dark green. I want quite a pale green. And then let me just get, I've got most of my paintbrushes I've dipped it, whoops, I've had in water for a while, but I want one that's going to give me a very fine, or do I want, no, I'm going to have it as a bit of a wash, I think. So let me just take my cloth and give that a bit of a wipe through like that. I need my spray bottle, which is just over on the other side, so give me 2 seconds to grab that. how often do you find that you're sitting at your desk working and you haven't got everything? This is absolutely brilliant. I love this. So I'm just going to add just a bit. Can you see how it sort of blends it up straight away? Because I want it fairly loose, and I'm just going to mix it in so we have a lovely green on here. I don't want it too bright. I think it might be, not sure whether that's exactly the sort of colour I want. I might just put a little bit more. I think it's a little bit too yellow. I'm just going to add. It's very difficult to work out exactly how much you want. I think I want just a little bit more blue. See how that goes. Just mix that in and see if that brings it a bit greener. That I think is a little bit better. It was a little bit yellow and I wanted it more green, so I think that's going to be a nice green colour. Now what you can do is to just do a little spritz on the card, because then that means that it's not going to, so when I come to do this on here, can you see it? It just allows it to come in beautifully. So I'm using quite a fine brush here, but because I've just moistened the card, it just gives a little bit of colour on here. Now I'm not worried about it going over slightly. I think that adds to the look. But what I am doing is I'm taking it all over here, in on the leaves. Let's take these ones up like this, because I like doing it so that it's like almost like a watercolour, and if you're doing a watercolour it's not overly refined. Now I tend to turn the card because it allows me to then go into the front pieces to just get those in. Okay, so that's my green, and I'm going to do my trees in the same green as well, because I'm going to do some highlights and stuff in there. I make it slightly darker once I've finished, and I'm also going to take it down like this on here, and then just stroke it across so we've got the green coming in like that. Okay, so what I want to do now is to turn it and take it darker. So let's put, a couple of drops of that, of the blue in, mix that through, and that will give me a darker green. Okay, so that will give me, take this up at the top, and it will give me a darker colour. I can just take some just down on the centre of the leaves to just give a little bit of definition on there. Take it down on here like that. Now what I want to do is I want to do the house now, and I'm going to, because I've done this in the Vivids, I'm going to use some alcohol markers to just define the little house. So it's going to be a thatched cottage, so you can see where it looks like snow. If I take a dark yellow that should be the darkest on here. So I'm going to, and this will help while it dries on there. I need to take it on the corner. So I'm just going to take this on here. I'm going to start with yellow on here. I think this one's nearly had it. You can see it's almost run out, so let's do, these are quite good. These are a tri blend, so you have 3. There we are, that's better. So that can be a thatched roof. Like that. So all I want to do on this is to add just a little bit of, have I got an earthy brown? Yeah, that's an earthy brown. Let's take the light on there. So I just want to add just a little bit of that on there, because then that will make it look thatched looking. Like that. And then we can have the windows can be in brown. So let's just lightly define them. Like this through the round window at the top. And this on here, so it looks, because it is quite a nice wooden styled cottage. Brown door. All around the side of it is going to be brown. Okay, now we're going to do, what should we do for the brickwork in there? I think I'm going to have just a pale sort of beigey colour. I think will do the brickwork and stuff, won't it? Oh, it's a bit orangey actually, but that'll do. Just sort of colouring that in a bit. Got a little tree there as well, so I need to make sure that I do the tree. Like that. Now I want a darker brown on there because that wasn't very good at all. So let's have this on the, whoops, the light. So these are more of the bits on here, so it looks like a old styled cottage. And it's all about building up your layers. So if you do one layer that you don't like, just carry on with it until you get the layer that you want. Now, what colour door shall we have? I think we'll have a green door. Just fancy a green door. So we'll have start with a light one, if I can get these off. Let's do the little trees. To there. Definitely needs to be darker than that, doesn't it? Let's do it on the dark one. That's nice. Quite like a green door. There was a song about a green door, wasn't there? Can't think who it was. Somebody behind the green door. There we go. Okay, so that's got that on there. Now the smoke from the chimney has got to be grey, hasn't it? Have I got a grey? Yes, I have. I've got an icy grey. So let's just do, oh, I didn't do my chimney pot. Okay, so let's do this coming up this way. Coming out like that. And And I need to do that little chimney in that brown because I just forgot my chimney pot, didn't I? Let's do, that was my chimney pot, wasn't it? Was it? No, that's yellow green. Where have I got my earthy brown? There we go. So it was the pale one, wasn't it? Let's get the pale one in here and just do the little chimney pot. There we go. I just want to add a little bit darker of these beams. It's a rather nice sort of cottage, isn't it? There we go. So we've got that in on there. Right, now that should have dried off a bit, which it has, which is good. So what I want to do now is to sort of bring everything in together nicely. So I want to use some sponge daubers, or I could use a blending brush. Yeah, I might use a blending brush actually. So I have my blending brushes with different colours in there. So I'm going to have the green and stuff on the bottom, and I'm going to use some inks for this. So I want a different coloured greens. I think that green's going to be quite good. So I'm just going to add some little bit on here. Need to put my mat out because otherwise, if you're doing blending and stuff, what will happen is that you'll then get your card and everything underneath on that, and that's exactly what you don't want. So I'm just going to take this and we're going to take this round through over the top. So I'm blending it round and through over the colours that we've used. And that will bring everything in together nicely. And because we've got the leaves, we can have it green all the way round. There we go. And then in the centre, I think I'm going to do a little bit of, be careful I don't knock my, a little bit of blue sky, I think. So let me just make sure that I've taken as much of this off. And then we'll just take a little bit of blue. We'll take that from about there. See if that's going to come in. Yeah, that's starting to come in now. So we've got the blue in the centre. So it's starting to look quite spring-like. And as I say, even though this was a winter stamp, you can turn it quite nicely into something that's more spring-like. Okay, so that's the inks on there. Now, what I'm going to do with the last bit is, you can see I've still got quite a lot of this ink on, which I think is good. So I'm going to use I've got a large one and I've got a smaller one. I think the smaller one will be better. So I'm going to use a small fan brush and I'm just going to dip it into this like this. And we're going to do just some splatters over the top. So can you see how it's starting to come out? I hope you can. And I'm just literally just tapping it. It just gives a little bit of extra definition on there. that. Looks as if it's sort of dewy raining, and you can see where it's still a little bit damp at the bottom, where it's just sort of blending in, which is quite nice. Okay, so that's used that up. Let's just put that in my water, and then I can just clean that one off of here. Clean my mat just a little bit, which I will do later. Put that down on here, move my mat and things out of the way. Okay, so we now have, I can just dry that off for a minute, and then I would normally just leave it to dry, but obviously I want to mount it for you so you can see, and I don't want it to be. Now you can see how it will start to curl just a little bit, but because this is really good thick card, you can turn it over and it will flatten itself out again, and you will have very little on there. Okay, so let's get our card bank like that. That can go in on there quite well. And then what I would do is I would take the edges, and I've got some Posca pens which I use a lot. So I'm going to take a black Posca, bring my mat out again, because you can see I use it all the time for doing my edging, but to save you putting it on mats and things like that, it's quite easy to put it on this way. So let's just put this one in like that. Let's take that there. And I want to do it in black because it will just edge it nicely. Take this edge in. And then you can choose whatever words you want to put on there. So I tend to not put the words in straight away because I leave it depending what sort of card I'm doing. And I still send lots of cards. You know, I send cards to family, friends, any groups that, you know, people are involved in that send cards and things. So I'm always making cards to send to people. Let's move that down there for a minute. Take that out of the way, and we can then just put that in on here. So I'm just going to take some glue. I'm going to use my new, I've got one of these new little bottles which are ever so good. You get a little set of bottles and they've got really fine nibs, and it means that you can just, says me, hopefully I can get it out. I've only just filled this one. Oh, here we go. So it means that you can just get a really fine defined line. And I think then all you have to do is to make sure that you just dip this piece in water to clean it off each time, which just takes a, you know, a second or two, and then it will last you and won't get clogged up. It has got a little stopper thing, but there we go. Let's put that in like that. It'll take just a moment because it's still slightly damp, but there we are. We've got a really nice simple card, but using what would normally be a Christmas one that we're using for a summery or a spring type card. And as I say, put whatever words you want in to fit whatever occasion. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.